Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Thursday, November 24th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. With winter approaching, there's concern for hundreds of unhoused people sleeping outside across Nova Scotia, specifically here in HRM. The province announced today a new emergency shelter for men will be opening at the beginning of next month at the Christ Church in Dartmouth.
So there's 3 levels to the hall, and we're going to be offering the middle level to the province here, this main level here, to provide 20 beds.
It's a 3-way partnership between the province, Christ Church, and 902 Man Up, who will be providing the wraparound services. This shelter is in addition to the other emergency shelter on North Park Street in Halifax, with beds for all genders.
It seems like it doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're Dartmouth or Halifax, there's people unhoused. So that's the big thing. And the food. I mean, we're seeing people from all walks of life, economic backgrounds that need to either use the community fridge or even use the food bank. So that's a big change.
The new Dartmouth shelter will have security for the safety of the guests, and there will also be contact information available for community members to provide support or to voice their concerns. The shelter is expected to stay open until the 31st of March 2023, with potential for an extension. And speaking of shelters, Amherst is also opening an overnight shelter next month at the Crossroads Community Church. $360,000 funded by the Department of Community Services has helped to make it possible. There will be a place to sleep, food, and outreach services on site for people who are unhoused. SaltWire's Aaron Beswick visited the shelter and has the details.
With dozens of people sleeping rough or couch surfing, volunteers and service providers in Amherst have banded together to open the town's first winter homeless shelter. On Monday, Hannah Landry and Monica Gibbons carried donated supplies into the former Crossroads Community Church, where it will be located.
We're looking to set up a 20-bed overnight emergency winter shelter to help people escape the cold over the winter months. It'll be a place where people can check in at around 8 p.m. in the night, and they'll be able to stay overnight. There's a real need, especially for emergency shelter. A lot of people are finding themselves without a place to stay, and it might not be all of the time, but for whatever reason, someone could find themselves either evicted on really short notice, or they could be in a situation where they're couch surfing and they're just not able to stay where they're at for a length of time. So having a spot like the winter emergency shelter will really help those folks who all of a sudden find themselves without a safe place to sleep at night.
This is Aaron Beswick reporting for the SaltWire Network.
As mentioned, it is that time of year where temperatures are beginning to drop, and that's prompting provincial and emergency officials to remind you to get your winter tires on before it's too late. As you can see here, a long line of cars at a local auto shop to get their winters on. The province says Nova Scotians should book a service appointment now and ensure vehicles have snow tires, antifreeze, and an emergency kit, including a phone charger, flashlight, shovel, and blanket. Ahead of the upcoming snow and ice season, RCMP and the Public Works Department recently held a press conference reminding drivers that they should be staying off the roads in dangerous circumstances. They also advised employers to consider releasing employees early in the day before conditions worsen. They're also reminding drivers to give snowplow drivers the distance that they need to clear the roads. Nova Scotia is reporting 10 new deaths related to COVID-19. In the weekly dashboard update today, there were 515 new cases and 31 new hospital admissions for the 7-day period ending November 21st. The 10 deaths reported this week are from the previous reporting period. As of November 22nd, there were 4 people in the ICU. It's time for Prices at the Pumps with Dan McTagg. Dan shares his thoughts on where fuel prices may be headed at midnight in Nova Scotia and gives us a heads up on future price trends.
You're going to see prices drop about 5 cents a litre. Now we saw they fell about 3.5 in Newfoundland, but that they didn't get the advantage of an extra day. Prices are dropping; they continue to drop, and so we should see about a 5 cent decrease, maybe a little bit more. On the diesel side, perhaps even more. Probably about 7 cents a litre. And that's because, of course, the price of those two, along with oil, has been plummeting the past couple of weeks. So good news in the short term. Longer term, it's only going to make the pain that much greater in the weeks to come.
It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Andrew Beaver, who is part of a drug trial hoping to end his need for insulin to control his diabetes.
So at this point, you've been on this for several months. Do you know yet which one you're taking?
I've actually only been on it for a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I first began the trial in November 1st. I went for a screening, and then 2 weeks later, I went back for the first infusion. So I haven't noticed too much of a trend yet, but I'm definitely hopeful that I'm on the drug and I might see some great improvements, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah, the best outcome possible would definitely be to be able to come off insulin. That's definitely a dream to have. To stop the immune system from essentially committing treason on your energy levels.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
After a couple of years on hiatus due to COVID, the SaltWire Ice Jam is back. President of the Nova Scotia U18 Major Hockey League, Paul Graham, is here. Paul, first of all, how good is it to get the Ice Jam back on the ice?
Incredibly thrilling. We've missed this for the last couple of years. We almost had it last year, Scott. It was canceled in the last minute, really, with Omicron creeping up on the shores of Nova Scotia. We are thrilled about having it back, and so are the kids and the players and all the staff and teams. It's going to be one of our largest tournaments ever. We have now 3 full divisions. So we have a U15 major, we have U16 AAA, and we'll have the U18 major, of course, as the marquee division. We're utilizing all 4 ice surfaces at the former BMO Center. It's now the Halifax 4-pad out in Bedford, plus the 2 ice surfaces at East Hants. And we'll have more teams than we've ever had before, well over 50. So it's about 1,200 players, plus all their staff. The U18 League, the Nova Scotia U18 Major League, runs and administers this tournament. It's our tournament. And we've just renewed our commitment for this for another 5 to 10 years. So we're expecting this to become larger. In 5 years, this will be even a larger tournament.
Make sure that you check it out online and follow them on social media. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the forecast. We're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, it certainly was the brightest day of the week thus far, but also the coldest. It was quite chilly with the wind out here in the HRM today. Good news in the forecast, a warm-up is on the way, but that comes with a bit of a cost. This evening, we will have clear skies and the temperature near -2, the overnight low -5. As you wake up on Friday morning, we'll have a mix of sun and cloud, but as we go into the afternoon, it does become cloudy. We'll have a chance of showers developing, but get this, a high above normal, 7 degrees the afternoon high, and we could even rise up a bit more as we head into the evening. That is because the warm side of a low-pressure system will start moving through the region. A warm front crosses that will bring periods of steadier rain as we go through Friday night. Gusty southeast winds too. They could peak anywhere from 40 up to 70 kilometers per hour. About 10 to 20 millimeters of rain on the way here for the Halifax area. This system does, though, clear out as we go into and throughout Saturday. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at SaltWire Today. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.